When a teen with FND spends days trapped in bed, it looks like laziness for you as a parent. Maybe it looks like depression, but under the hood, their nervous system is running a marathon while sitting completely still. Your child has been diagnosed with FND or Functional Neurological Disorder, and you are doing everything you can to help them. But on top of everything else that you're dealing with, your teen looks like a zombie. Their sleep is terrible, or they're sleeping 10, 11, maybe 12 hours and still waking up completely drained. Some days they push through and almost seem okay, but you know they are just going to crash really hard for the next 3 days and can barely get out of bed. That energy is all over the place and nothing makes sense. You are watching literally FND destroying your child's life and nobody is telling you why this is happening, what's going on, or what you can actually do about it. So we're going to cover all of those things in today's video. Hi, my name is Dr. Lee. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist specialized in pediatric health psychology and the founder of Teen FND Academy, a coaching program to help teens with FND and their parents just like you get their life back. In my work with teens with FND, fatigue or super tired is the symptom that confuses parents the most and gets explained the least. That changes today. So before we get into what is actually happening, I want to name something. When parents see this level of exhaustion in their child, the first instinct makes complete sense, like more sleep, more vitamins, more rest days, maybe a new supplement. And I understand why you go there. That means that you're a loving, caring parent. And it looks like a sleep problem or a nutrition problem. So you try to solve it that way. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But here is what I want you to picture with FND and fatigue. Imagine your teen is rowing a boat with one arm. Okay, you notice they are complaining about their wrist pain, all right? So you give them a painkiller or maybe a steroid injection in that wrist. It might reduce the pain temporarily, but they're still rowing with one arm and the painkiller did not solve the real problem. It just masked it long enough for them to keep going until they collapsed again. Now, this is obviously extreme, but this is exactly what is happening when we try to fix FND fatigue with more sleep or supplements, one arm, right? We're actually treating the wrist when the whole rowing setup system is the problem, rowing with the two arms. So the real issue is what is happening inside the brain and the nervous system, and that is what we need to talk about. So what's actually happening in your child's brain and body? Well, in 2024, researchers Kozlowska and her colleagues, I admire their work by the way, published a paper mapping out what they called the stress system model for pediatric FND. And here is what this model tells us, which has 4 parts in it. So bear with me. In a child with FND, multiple systems are dysregulated all at the same time, according to the researchers. Number 1 is what is called the HPA axis. It's short for hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, which is super fancy word for like multi-system is involved. So HPA axis, which is the body's main stress hormone system. Number 2, the autonomic nervous system, which controls things like heart rate, breathing, and digestion. Number 3 is the brain stress system, which manages how the body responds to threat and danger, including lowered immune system and increased inflammation. Then the 4th one is the sleep. Okay, so think of these systems together as your teen's internal energy management center. Okay, so in a typical teenager, this center works kind of like a smart thermostat. It reads what is happening inside and outside and adjusts energy up when it's needed and then bring it back down when the threat is gone. However, in a teen with FND, that thermostat is completely jammed. It is stuck reading danger all the time, and even when your child is just sitting on the couch. So that means their body is burning fuel at a high rate around the clock, like 24/7, not because they are doing anything, but because their system cannot turn it off. So these researchers specifically noted that HPA dysregulation affects the energy regulation and that this directly contributes to the feeling of fatigue in children with FND. Now, this is not a theory, it is for real. And this is where you see your child is looking like a zombie. Now you know your child is not lazy. They are not unmotivated. They're quite literally running out of gas because their internal engine cannot stop running. It's like trying to start the engine like ding, 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 and nothing happens. So that's exactly what's happening. On top of that, 2025 systematic review by researchers including Al Beltagi and colleagues found that kids with FND specifically rarely deal with just one symptom. They are managing a whole web of issues all at the same time, like pain, tremors, brain fog, sensory overload, weakness, seizure activities. Even when those symptoms are invisible for the most part to you on the outside, their brain and nervous system are literally working overtime just to filter through all of that noise and keep them functional. So fatigue is not really a separate new problem sitting on top of FND. It is actually the biological cost of a nervous system that has been running on overdrive for who knows, weeks, months, and sometimes years. So now you know that if you're seeing your child feeling tired or you're hearing your child complaining about, I'm tired, and looking like a zombie, that is not just one more thing. This brings us to these two patterns that I see all the time with kids who have FND.
The Family Guy shares a handful of practical strategies to help you get out of this survival mode, and it shows why our structured approach gets such a strong result. Grab it from the description below. It is free.
The first pattern is this: they just cannot get out of bed. Science tells us that this is often connected to the HPA or hypothalamus pituitary adrenal dysregulation affecting what we call the cortisol awakening response. What? Here's the deal. Normally, the body gives us a natural rise in cortisol in the morning. That cortisol spike is what helps us wake up, feel alert, and get moving. Andrew Huberman also says to get sunlight in the morning to get that morning cortisol going. So in many teens with FND, here's the problem. That morning spike is either blunted or flattened, like it's like not really there. They are not refusing to get up because of attitude or laziness. Their internal biological engine, once again, is simply not firing that spark it needs to start the day. Now, second pattern is the push and crash cycle. I call this go, go, go and crash and burn cycle. I see this all the time with families with FND, particularly those teens who are high achieving, perfectionistic, like A++ is the average, minimum kind of people. And if you're thinking, oh my gosh, that's my child, that's exactly what I'm talking about. On a rare good day, your teen wakes up with a little bit of energy because they are so desperate to feel normal, whatever that means, and a bit of FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. What do? They try to catch up on everything. Schoolwork, friends, activities. They spend every bit of available energy they have. But because their system cannot regenerate energy efficiently at this stage, so what do? They go into a deficit. The brain senses the energy bankruptcy and triggers a shutdown. Next day, they crash, and that cycle starts again. So if this resonates with you, I want to reassure you, this is exactly how I was when I was going through my own condition. Go, 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 and crash and burn. I did not have a diagnosis of FND at that time because this was a long time ago, but I was struggling with the chronic pain and all of those symptoms, including feeling like a zombie. So if you are noticing that in your child, I know what it's like. So what can you do about this? Because there's hope. The most important tool you can start using right now is what is called activity pacing. First of all, let's have a good understanding that your teen's fatigue is not a sign of needing one more supplement or steroid, okay? Just like they cannot row a boat with one arm, right? So let's be clear on that real problem, all right? Aside from that, I also want to be very clear about what pacing actually means because most families get this wrong as well. Pacing is not a performance strategy to help your teen get more done. It is also not about let's just do less and then let's limit and let's restrict. It's not that. Pacing is literally a nervous system protection strategy. So going back to rowing a boat, okay? The goal is not to help your teen row harder with one arm or tell them to stop rowing altogether. In practical terms, this means helping your teen learn to take pre-planned breaks, because that's what this pacing is all about, when their energy is at around 50 or 70%, not when they are at zero. Because by the time they feel tired, they have already passed the point of no return for that day or for the next 2 days. The crash is already coming. So when we train the brain to manually recharge like multiple times while there is still fuel in the tank, and we basically send a message and signal to the nervous system, hey, the body is safe. And we are not in an emergency mode anymore. We do not need to shut down. Those are the messages that are being sent to the brain and the body. So over time, that repeated signal begins to shift how the system starts to work together again. It is not a quick fix, but it works, and I've seen it one too many times, including myself. So you don't have to wait until your teen feels better to do this. You can start implement this supporting at home today for them to get better.
If you want to see how my full program of Teen FND Academy works and how it's helping families resolve FND for real, then watch the video linked in the description box below.
FND fatigue is one of the most misunderstood and most dismissed parts of this condition. I know, I hear you, and parents are told their child just needs better sleep habits or more motivation, right? Or more vitamin or more caffeine, energy drink, all of these things. But now you know the real picture. Those things are not bad. It's just going through the wrong target. So this is a stress system problem according to Dr. Kozlowska. And activity pacing is one of the first steps toward working with that system instead of against it. Now, if this video helped you make sense of what you're seeing at home and need my help to get out of the stuck cycle, along with other families who are doing the exact same thing of learning how to row a boat with 2 arms correctly, check out my website to see if you're a good fit for my program. The link is in the description box below. I'll see you in the next video.